Hi, I'm Amelia. Come with me this week and see which clothes in my handmade wardrobe I don't wear. Hi, so I'm Amelia and welcome to this week's video. I have been thinking quite hard this winter about which of the clothes in my handmade wardrobe I reach for frequently and which of those I don't. So in today's video, I thought I would share some of those pieces that I don't wear so much because, let's be honest, we can't wear everything in our wardrobe, and that follows for handmade clothes as well as for ready-to-wear clothes. Now, when I first started out on my sewing journey, I was very much tempted by all sorts of different patterns and fabrics, and over time I've learned about what colours I prefer to wear and what I think suits me well, and which silhouettes I prefer to wear as well. And so I think some of these pieces, the patterns themselves are great, the fabrics themselves are beautiful, but for whatever reason I don't really think they suit me and I'm not reaching for them. But I thought I'd share them with you today because I think it is interesting to see how everything that we make is going to work out perfectly. So I'm going to share with you today a few things. These are really pieces for my winter wardrobe. I have got a few pieces in my summer wardrobe that I'm not sure I reach for very often either, but I'm going to share those perhaps in another video if you do enjoy watching this one today. So I'm going to share some tops, I'm going to share a couple of skirts, and I'm going to share a few dresses that I'm just not reaching for this winter. Now, some of these pieces I'm going to hopefully refashion into something else because I do love the fabric, but others I probably will end up donating or passing on to other people who will wear them more than I will. So let's get started, and I'm going to start with what I'm wearing today. Now, I am wearing one of my new makes that I'm going to share in next week's video, which is my February makes. It's pretty hard to see it, but I'll pop in a little sneak peek so that you can see what it looks like. It is my Nomi Patterns cardigan that I was so excited to make, ME2003, and I've made it in this merino wool fabric from We Are The Fabric Store, which is so snuggly and warm. It's been a great extra layer to wear today, and I am enjoying wearing it today, but I do have a few thoughts about this one, and the reason I wore it for this video is because I'm not sure how much wear it's going to get, which is a little bit sad having just made it, but I'll share more about the reasons behind that in next week's video. But for now, I will move the camera a little bit, I shall step back, and I shall let you see what it is that I have got on today that I'm not reaching for in my handmade wardrobe. So today's outfit is this slip dress. Now, it's a new look pattern and it's pretty hard to see, so I will remove this cardigan, but I just thought I'd show you the initial outfit that I've got on today. I've put this slip dress on and I've just popped this cardigan over the top, because as you'll see, this is a very cropped fit cardigan, so it doesn't go over terribly much in my wardrobe, but it does go over this dress, and actually I think it looks quite nice. There's a few Jane Austen vibes going on, I think, with this Empire line waist here, but that's fine. I am wearing it today. So I'll take this cardigan off now so that you can see the slip dress underneath. And here it is. So this is my new look slip dress. I really liked the look of some of the Sicily slip dresses I was seeing online. I really liked the look of the saltwater slip by Friday Pattern Company, but I wasn't sure if the straight line of those would suit me, or indeed the very bias cut slinky look of the Sicily would suit me. So I decided to try this pattern, and I do like it. It fits really nicely over my waist and hips. It is very comfortable to wear. The issue I have with this particular one that I made is that the fabric is very sheer. More sheer than I think I realised, or I would have probably made something different with it. Now, you'll notice today I'm wearing my favourite Elysian bodysuit by Friday Pattern Company underneath. This is not something that's leaving my wardrobe anytime soon. You'll know if you watched last week's video, which was a week in my handmade wardrobe, that I do wear this all the time. It's a great base layer, and I have worn it today underneath this slip dress because it does give me a bit more coverage underneath, and then I've got tights on as well and boots. So I think this is working for me today with the extra cardigan over the top as well. I feel a bit more covered up, but to be honest, it's still not a piece I reach for often because a lot of my life rotates around my children and picking them up and dropping them off and activities with them and park trips. This just doesn't really work for me on a day-to-day basis, sadly. I do love wearing dresses, I do love wearing skirts, but I think because this one is slightly slinkier, I just don't reach for it very much. And then something about it, I just don't tend to pick it up before nights out either, so sadly it just doesn't get a lot of wear, even though it's a lovely dress and I do love the fabric. So I think I'll be passing this on to someone who perhaps will get more wear out of it in their daily life, because it's a shame to just sit in my wardrobe. It is a nice piece, I do like it, but I'm just not reaching for it. So here is skirt number 1. Now, please don't all jump onto the comments and tell me it's Liberty, you can't get rid of it. It's Liberty, I'm not getting rid of it. I absolutely adore this fabric. I'll pop in a picture of me wearing it because you'll see from my face how happy this fabric and this skirt make me. It is just gorgeous. And if I step back, you'll just see how full it is and how swishy. It really is such a gorgeous skirt and I do love wearing it. The problem is with this pattern, I can't quite get the fit right. This is the second version of this skirt I've made and it does fit better. I did size down from my measurements, but it still is a little big. And recently I've lost a little weight and so it is now much too big. Now this skirt pattern is the Jessica skirt by Hand London. It's a beautiful pattern, very quick and easy to make. And I really love this panelled waistband and the full swishy gathered skirt. But it is supposed to sit up here on your waist. And then this panelled waistband just sits so beautifully before going out into this gathered skirt. But if I show you, hopefully you can see just how much is there. Probably almost 2.5 inches from each side that I would need to take in to make this skirt fit me again. And because the waistband is made up in panels and it's lined, and the skirt here is fully lined as well, that's going to be quite a job. So in terms of this piece here, it just simply doesn't get a lot of wear at the moment because it doesn't fit. I absolutely love it. I adore wearing it in the spring especially, but I do wear it in the winter as well, like you can see here with bodysuit and then a jumper over the top. But I just can't wear it at the moment because there is just a lot of excess fabric, and if I let it go, you'll see it just sits a little bit too far down on my hips. I know I did just pull it down, but it does tend to fall down on its own, and I just don't think it looks as good sitting that low as it does when it is up on the waist, which is where it was designed to sit. But this one will definitely be reworked and remade because I do absolutely love it, and it's a shame that I can't wear it at the moment. So here's the next skirt in my handmade wardrobe that I just don't reach for. Now again, love the pattern, I love the skirt in theory, I just don't reach for it. And the reason for that I think is the colour. You'll see today's theme a little bit is the colour red. I just don't seem to reach for red clothes as much as I love the colour, and I think it works for me actually. I do have a cardigan in red that I reach for a lot. I don't seem to reach for these other red pieces so much, and I'm not sure why. Now this is a gorgeous skirt pattern. This is the Hannah Wrap skirt by Rosary Apparel. Absolutely love the pattern. I've made a couple of these and I do really enjoy the pattern, and I think it sits beautifully on my waist, and the wrap is beautiful and full. You'll see there's the under panel and here's the over the top panel. So it's such a lovely full wrap skirt that I don't feel any issues in terms of coverage when I'm out and about, so that's great. So I did upcycle this. This was a thrift flip that I did. I'll pop the video in up here so you can go and see how I did that. I actually made a skirt and a top from a dress. So again, I think this is another one that I will probably pass on to someone who will get more wear out of it because it is a lovely skirt and it deserves to be worn. I'm just not reaching for it. So here's the first of 2 tops that I thought I would show you. I've just paired them both with a pair of ready-to-wear jeans, and you'll know if you watched my handmade wardrobe from last week that this is a Rowan bodysuit, which I absolutely love. So the pattern is great. I have a striped version that I wear all the time, and then I made this pink version as well, which again, it fits really well. I'll turn around so you can see. It's very, very comfortable. I did grade from a 10 across the bust to a 12 at the waist and a 14 at the hip, so it fits really nicely. The fabric is beautiful. I just don't know if it's something about the colour. Like I said, these pieces that I've picked out that I've not been wearing all fall into that sort of pink and red category, and I just don't know if it feels very bright next to my face. When I was going through my winter wardrobe at the beginning of the season, I thought this would look cute with jeans and a vest top, but I just haven't reached for it. So I think that I will probably pass this one on as well to someone else who will wear it a bit more because it is a fun colour, and I do really love the Rowan bodysuit, but sadly this one just isn't getting a lot of wear. So the next top I've got to show you is one that has been recently re-released by Tilly and the Buttons in their full size range, and this is the Agnes t-shirt. Now I sewed this pattern as my first jersey make, I think it was, and I'm so proud of it because I'd never really sewn with jersey before and I was terrified of sewing with jersey. And Tilly's instructions are fantastic, and I do really like this top. It used to be very, very fitted. It is now still quite snug, but not as snug as it was, that's fine. So I don't think it's an issue with the fit. I actually think it's an issue with these sleeves that I chose to make. I chose to make the puffy sleeves, and whilst I have it pulled down at the moment, what happens during the day is this sleeve tends to go up, and then these tend to do that, which I just, I don't love. So I think, to be honest, this is more an issue with the sleeves than anything else. In my day-to-day handmade wardrobe, I don't tend to reach for a lot of jersey tops unless they're going underneath some of my pinafore dresses, and this fabric doesn't seem to go with any really of the pinafore dresses that I have made. And like I said, just the shoulders popping up through the day just really annoys me, and I find myself pulling the arms down all the time, which just isn't great. So I think partly it's a fabric choice just because it doesn't go with very much else in my handmade wardrobe, and partly it's just my choice of making these sleeves and perhaps not making them correctly, because I haven't seen that happen on anyone else that's made these puffed sleeves. They don't seem to sit proud the way that mine do, so it's probably my sewing as much as anything else. I do find myself reaching much more for blouses and jumpers than I do for jersey tops. So I think that's also just something that I've learned about myself and my preferences for what I prefer to wear in terms of my handmade pieces. So after having worked that one out, I have started, you'll probably have noticed recently, making more blouses and more woven tops. I do have a few sweatshirts and jumpers as well that I've made that I reach for a lot. But I just don't tend to reach for jersey tops as much as I perhaps once did. That's just personal preference, and it's been good learning. It's just a shame that it's meant that this piece hasn't got the wear it perhaps deserves. It is a very nice little top, apart from these sleeve bits. But yes, it's just not getting the love that it deserves. So this one I think will also be donated. Now the next two dresses I'm going to show you quite quickly, because I think for both of these dresses the pattern is lovely, but it's my choice of fabric that makes a difference to why I don't wear these pieces. Now this dress itself is such a lovely pattern. Now unfortunately it's no longer available. It is the Colette Moneta dress. There are a couple of other similar patterns though, and in fact a couple of them are free. There's the Galena dress from Little Lizard King, and I believe they have another free pattern for a dress that's very similar to this one. So I will pop those in the description box below. I absolutely love the neckline of this dress. It sits really nicely over my shoulders. The fit is lovely. I really like that the waist falls on my natural waist, and it's a really lovely little gathered skirt. I absolutely love this dress. It's one of my husband's favourites as well, and I do like the fabric in terms of the stripe. So I would quite like to recreate this one at some point. So the thing that I don't prefer about this dress really is the fabric, and it's just because it's a polyester ponte fabric. Now the ponte itself I think is a great weight of fabric for this dress. It holds the skirt really nicely, and I do like the structure it gives the bodice, but I don't love the polyester content. It sort of crackles against my tights and it just feels a bit hot by the end of the day, which I don't love. I do prefer a breathable cotton fabric, and I have seen some lovely cotton pontes around at some of the fabric shops that I love, and so I could consider remaking this one in the spring, but again at the moment it's just not one I reach for, and it's purely because of the fabric that I chose. Now here's the next dress, a next jersey dress, and this one is another Tilly and the Buttons pattern. It is the Freya dress. And I love my Freya top. I don't wear it as much as my Rowan bodysuits, but I do wear my Freya top quite a lot. This is in Tilly and the Buttons stretch book, and there is a pattern piece so that you can add a skirt to it, a slightly flared A-line skirt, which is what I did with this version, and I actually made the cowl neck, which is lovely and warm. But again, for me, I think it's the fabric choice. Now, don't come at me in the comments because I know this is a very popular fabric. This is a beautiful viscose jersey, and I know a lot of you absolutely love it, but I don't. I absolutely love the watercolor colors, and I love the feel of the jersey, but I just don't love wearing it, and I don't know why, because it's very, very soft, but there's just something about it that I don't love. And I think also I made this in a size 4 in a Tilly and the Buttons, and I do think I could do with sizing down a bit. It does feel a bit gapey, around my waist, and also the sleeves have got quite a lot of room in them. Now that's a fairly easy fix. I could just whip that down on the overlocker and fix that up. But there's just something about the slinkiness of the fabric. It seems quite clingy and I just don't prefer that for me. So yes, it is a lovely fabric. Viscose jersey is one that I have tried a couple of times though, and both times I've tried it, I've made a jumper, I've made a dress, and both times I just haven't preferred the look of the finished garment on me. And I just think it's because viscose jersey has such a beautiful drape to it, and perhaps I'm not choosing the right patterns that go the best with this kind of jersey. So if you do have pattern suggestions for what to make with a viscose jersey, do pop them in the comments below, because I'd love to hear if you love sewing with viscose jersey and wearing viscose jersey, and which garments you have found that work particularly well for this type of fabric. Because like I say, I've tried it twice now, and both times I have not loved the finished garment. So do let me know below, and I will pop the next dress on now. So this is the last dress that I have to share with you, and this one is one that I feel the most sad about. So this is a version of the Bakerloo dress by Nina Lee London, and I absolutely loved making this one. It has the pie crust collar, I think it's called, and then I made the bodice slightly smaller, so I sized down and then added an invisible zip at the back here. And then I made these gorgeous full balloon sleeves, and I made it in this beautiful red corduroy. Now, again, I think it's just the colour, because I love the style of this dress, and in fact, I made another one very similar in a blue cotton that I wore in the summer with the same pie crust collar, and then I made the Anthea blouse sleeves, and I wore that one a lot. So I do wonder if it's just the colour of this one, because again, it just feels like an awful lot of red to be wearing, and that's fine. I think some people love to wear those bright colours, and I do love bright colours, but I think if it was just a red jumper or just a red skirt, I would possibly reach for it more than a red dress. And again, this one might be one that I could wear out for an occasion, but I just haven't reached for it then either. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not sure that I will donate this one yet, because I do absolutely love it. But this is one that I thought I would include in this video, because for whatever reason, I just haven't reached for it at all this winter. And that's so sad. I do wonder about the fabric as well though. This corduroy does have quite a lot of polyester in it. So I did fully line the bodice and the skirt, so it doesn't cling to my tights or anything. But the sleeves do cling a little bit, and it's just, again, not a fabric content that I prefer. And that's something that I've learned about myself, and you do have to learn by sewing things and then making different choices and working out what you do prefer. I'm not going to call it a mistake, because I do love this dress, and I do hope that I might maybe start wearing it a bit more in the spring as the weather warms up and it feels a bit more bright. But as it stands, I have not reached for this yet all winter, so I thought I needed to include it in this video, just to be honest about what it is that I am and I'm not wearing in my handmade wardrobe. So I've got one more piece to share with you before I sign off, and I'll go and pop that on now. So here is the last piece that I'm going to share with you today, and this is my Fibre Mood Paola jumper that I made in a viscose jersey. This is actually a viscose French terry, but it has a similar feel to it to the viscose jersey I shared earlier, and that is it's just very, very slinky and clingy. Now, again, probably my fault in terms of my choice of pattern. I'm sure it would look brilliant in another style of jumper, or perhaps a skirt or a dress, I'm not sure. I have to say about the fabric, I love the colour, I love how warm it is. I just don't prefer, I think it is the shape of this jumper on me. Absolutely love this purple colour. It's not a colour I would have ever chosen to wear before, but I do really like it on me. Now, there's a lot about this jumper that I should like. I love the gather in these sleeves. So the back is put together with a lovely yoke, which you can see here. There is a hood, which I decided to put on. Don't really think it suits me, not that you tend to wear hoods anyway. But yes, there's your laugh for the day. I don't love the hood. It's very floppy, I think, in this viscose jersey. So yeah, I won't put that back on. I think it does add to the look of the jumper. It's a lovely casual look. And I think for me, what I've learned about making this pattern, and a couple of others actually, is that I don't love a dropped shoulder. Now, this is not just a drop shoulder. This is a design choice. I'm sure, like, I don't know what you'd call this. But I do think if the shoulder were up here with those gathers in it, that would just make such a difference to the look of the jumper. I think you can see, that's not ideal. You can just see, I think that sleeve on me just looks much better on my particular body shape, or I feel more confident in a sleeve that sits on my shoulder rather than a dropped sleeve. So I do think as sewists, sometimes we have to learn things the hard way by making things and trying them and finding what does and doesn't work for us. Now obviously if you go ready to wear shopping, you have the same experiences. You try things on and sometimes buy things that later on you realise you don't feel confident or quite your best self in. For us as sewists, we make things and then we find that we don't love them, which can sometimes be a bit heartbreaking, but that's the way we learn. And I think I have to really see these as learning opportunities. I've learnt some fabric types that I don't prefer to wear. I have learnt some shaping of garments that I don't prefer. I know now that I don't love a dropped shoulder. I much more prefer a raglan seam or just a set-in shoulder. And you can only learn these things by trying different styles and seeing what does and doesn't work for you. Now, like I said at the beginning, these patterns are lovely patterns. I'm sure they'll work for some people. I'm just sharing what has not worked for me and which fabrics I personally don't prefer to wear. But we're all different, and that's what makes the sewing community so wonderful. There will be other people out there, I'm sure, who have these same garments in their wardrobes and who absolutely love wearing them, and that's wonderful. Thank you for watching me today as I shared what I'm not wearing currently and the reasons why. I hope you enjoyed seeing that. I just thought it was important to share the reality of my sewing journey and those successful garments as well as those that I just don't wear. I'm not going to call them unsuccessful, but ones that I just haven't been reaching for. If you have enjoyed today's video, do quickly click on the like button, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do hit that subscribe button. It's free and it would be lovely to have you as a regular viewer. Do pop a comment in the comments box below and let me know if there are any items in your handmade wardrobe that you sadly haven't reached for this winter either. I'm looking forward to sharing what I've been making in February in next week's video, so do pop back for that. It'll be a bit of a chatty catch up with some garments I've been making, some things I've been loving, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you next week. In the meantime, I hope you have a lovely week ahead full of lots of happy sewing, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!